Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to episode 3 of the Unnamed Games podcast. I'm Craig, aka Indiana Bond Larter, and joining me today we've got Alan Longfangs Howlett. How you doing, Alan?
Sir, I'm doing well and fine, thank you, my friend.
Good man, good man. We've got Phil, Speed Freak Phil Thompson. How you doing, mate? Hello?
Just stepped out of the room, apparently.
No, that was the sound of me opening a beer, because I'm not working tomorrow the first time in ages.
That's pretty good.
For the bottle opener, I'll be honest, I've been holding on to that, ready for this. So I can't ever do it again, so let's not cock this up.
It's supposed to be professional. We're all drinking during it now. I'm going to go and get AD.
I say, I'm
Clearly,
I'm going to get myself some serious booze on the go.
Yeah, thanks for opening that right during the intros there, Phil. I really appreciate that, mate. That really helped with my flow.
Excellent, glad it did. Always here to please.
And then last but not least, we have Chris Ratley Ratster. How you doing, mate?
I'm not so bad, mate. I'm not so bad.
Good stuff, good stuff. So it's the usual crew back again. So I think this week we're going to mix it up a little bit because we've decided that we want to kind of move the duties around a little bit. And Alan has very kindly done the running order for us this week. So he's mixed it up a little bit. And later on, when I normally do a game for you boys, Alan's doing the game this week, aren't you, mate?
Oh, it's the ultimate games quiz. You guys love it.
I'm really excited because I get to play this time.
Also, side bonus, I figure by actually hosting the quiz this week, I can't actually be the last. So, double benefit.
Yeah, I would say this is
I hope you've made my questions really easy so that I can beat Ratley this time so it doesn't win again.
You know what it costs, Craig.
Oh, good stuff, good stuff.
Really, I'm glad we're in COVID because he can't go over there and buy his way to victory now. You know what I'm talking about? I'm saying.
The beer's gone to his head already, boys. So I think this is a good chance to move swiftly on. So, as I said, we're mixing it up a little bit this week, and we're going to move, first off, over to the news. So, again, I mean, it's been a really sort of funny time to start these podcasts because there really hasn't been a lot going on,
Very quiet week, wasn't it?
Yeah, very, very quiet stuff. We didn't have anything last week, nothing the week before. Oh, there was something, wasn't there? Yeah, I do believe that Microsoft just dropped a funny little announcement just before they went live with their pre-orders. Funny that.
Was that a little indie studio thing we were talking about?
That's it,
Little studio.
Fairly insignificant,
Yeah,
actually.
So it seems that... hugely insignificant. It seems that, Microsoft and Xbox have decided they're going to make a little purchase, £7.5 billion for ZeniMax and Bethesda, which... my jaw still naturally drops open when I think about it. It's insane, absolutely balmy.
Totally.
So I think it would really be, a bit of a tragedy if we didn't talk about that. So, what do you boys think? I mean, let's go to Alan first. Give us your thoughts on what's been happening.
Well, I mean, as you said, it was a massive blow out of nowhere, totally unexpected. I mean, let's be honest, Bethesda has not had the best couple of years. Their reputation has taken a bit of a dent. We all know that, and I'm a massive Elder Scrolls and Fallout fan. And even I've been getting a little bit disgruntled with some of their actions with Fallout 76, the whole Fallout 76 debacle, if you like. And quite frankly, for the first time ever, I found myself not really looking forward to Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, obviously there's a level of excitement, but I'm thinking, is it going to be the same old trash? They're talking about using the same engine for their new IP Starfield, and the same, with Elder Scrolls. And you're thinking, they're just not pushing the boundaries like companies like Rockstar and CD Projekt Red are, with their game engines and trying to really push that forward. And then we get this announcement, and I know we were passing it around the room, a fantastic interview with Pete Hines, and Phil Spencer and Todd Howard, and basically it was confirmed also in Todd Howard's press release, where he actually said, confirming Starfield's engine change, where he said it's led to our largest engine overhaul since Oblivion, with all new technology powering our first new IP in 25 years, Starfield, as well as Elder Scrolls 6. Sorry?
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, really, really exciting. So great news as far as I'm concerned. It benefits everybody involved. I think it's fantastic news.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that they're very much. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's been a massive jump of any of the engines. Yes, Fallout 4 looked massively better than Oblivion did. But it's essentially the same engine that's just been tightened up that little bit, and it's always seemed like it's needed a real push forward. I mean, what are your thoughts, Phil?
I think they can finally stop polishing that turd of a game engine. Quite frankly.
Never one to hold back, are you, Phil?
Yeah, that was genuine. When that news came through, I thought, thank God. One, they'll finally stop porting Skyrim, although I bet they've got a Series X enhanced version of that already ready to go.
Well, it's quite a funny little bit that I saw a tweet of a comment saying Xbox only bought Bethesda so they would stop re-releasing Skyrim, and then someone put a comment underneath saying, well, actually what they've done is they've just sold Skyrim again, but this time for $7.5 billion. So yeah, I think they're definitely getting the last laugh on that one.
Yeah. They really did, yeah. I mean, generally, I'm glad to hear that they have finally decided to upgrade their engine, because it was just full of holes and it was constantly full of bugs. I think, this is good news with Xbox's backing. They'll probably actually maybe try and release a game that isn't full of blatant holes and bugs, or there'll be many, many tiers and perhaps an extended Q&A time with any game now as they trying to fix all the bugs they normally just release them with and take 5 years to fix. So I think this can only be a good move for the quality of Bethesda games, and I hope they still maintain the Bethesda originality, not the bugs thing, the originality of the bugs, but just the general kind of way they approach their game making, and I'm sure they will, because Phil Spencer seems to like leaving game studios alone, especially ones that are doing really well.
I mean, they're very much, they've already said that, they're very much, Bethesda are already, they're still going to publish the games under the Xbox umbrella, aren't they? So they're very much going to run as this kind of almost independent studio, but with the, the backing and oversight of Xbox and importantly, the money behind it as well. I think you're totally right. And I did see quite a funny meme again. I don't know, I'm just going to talk about memes and tweets all episode, but of a little kid crying doing their schoolwork, and above it said Microsoft making Bethesda fix all of their bugs before they release their games, which again I thought was quite a funny one.
If that isn't the little thumbnail for this podcast, I'll be disappointed now.
That's a good idea, actually. That is a good idea.
Put that one in the notes.
I mean, I think it was a bit of a bombshell. I mean, there'd been all this talk about Microsoft trying to buy Bungie, and everyone was kind of like, well, that makes sense. Bungie made Halo, etc., etc., etc. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like, now we're not buying them, but we are buying these guys. And everyone's like, come again? And and considering the rumor about them not buying Bungie was because it was cost too much, and then they drop a cool $7.5 billion on ZeniMax.
Well,
it was like
no more money left, Chris, after buying ZeniMax.
Well, it's a big bombshell. Certainly, I think the long term ramifications is what's going to be what is actually going to happen with these IPs. Are we going to see more exclusives, or are they going to just leverage the fact they've got all these multi-platform exclusives to just make money off Sony customers and be like, hey, if you buy it, we're still winning? It's I can't see them doing that long term, but there are certain titles that might make sense on. I don't know yet, but it's a big step, certainly, and it certainly has a real sort of earthquake style of shake-up. It wasn't just a little bit like, hey, we've bought this studio who are really cool. And that's no disrespect to like someone like Double Fine. When they bought Double Fine, everyone was like, wow, that's a cool acquisition. And Ninja Theory, everyone's like, wow, Ninja Theory is a great studio. To turn around and go, yeah, we're buying ZeniMax, which includes Bethesda and all this, and you took things like, you've got ID in there as well. Like that means Doom and all that sort of stuff, and Wolfenstein things. All these potential IPs. It was like, that's not just big, that's enormous. It was quite a surprise, to say the least, when that news dropped in my inbox. I was like, whoa, that's serious.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone there, mate. Yeah, that absolutely, blew the roof off the internet, I think, really. But any other thoughts on that, Alan?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that's a really good point. I think that, some of those IPs are just massive. And the real question is, and I think that's still a little bit of a grey area for some of them, is, obviously now with Bethesda, working under the Microsoft umbrella, how many of those titles may be Xbox exclusives, or how many of those titles are going on to Game Pass, that kind of stuff. I don't think any of that was confirmed. You can correct me if it was. But you've got Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Starfield, Doom, Rage, Prey,
Doom
Dishonored,
Eternal's
Wolfenstein.
been
The list
confirmed.
just goes on.
Doom Eternal's been confirmed for Game Pass October 1st.
I
already
think
happened.
there's
Yeah,
a
I
couple
heard that as well.
that are slated for PlayStation release as well. Was it Deathloop and I think Evil Within?
Deathloop and something else. Yeah, they're both PlayStation
they've already
exclusive.
confirmed that those are still going to be released by Bethesda Studios as they would have been across all platforms. So
Tokyo Ghostwire was the other one.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, really good time to just a really quick response before I go over to Phil, because I think Phil might have something else to add. But just a quick kind of yay or nay from you guys. So, do you think that going forward, these new exclusives or these new titles that are going to come out, so your Elder Scrolls 6, your Starfield, your Fallout 5, when those ones come out, are they going to be exclusive to Xbox, or are Xbox going to put them over to PS5? What do you think? Go on, Alan. What do you think?
I personally think they would be. I don't think Bethesda would be really on board with making them Xbox exclusives permanently. I think maybe I think Sony have done this before, haven't they? Or indeed maybe Microsoft have, where it's exclusive for the first year and then goes out to all the other platforms. I think they may, because you've just spent this massive amount of money on these companies. What are you getting from it? Well, that would really be a selling point for the Xbox console and range.
Ratley, what do you think?
I think that's a very real possibility for certain titles. I also think there's going to be some which will just flat out become exclusive. But I think we've seen with like tweets and stuff coming from Microsoft socials that they're like all for people buying PlayStation. They've been like, we'll just buy a Series X or a Series S down the line, or you can play on Game Pass, right? And I think that's the key strategy move here is Game Pass, right? If you make Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6 exclusive to Xbox, you're not making it console exclusive, you're making it Game Pass exclusive. So anyone can play it on a tablet or a phone with Game Pass, right? So is this the power move that gets Game Pass to become like everybody has a Game Pass, so you're a PlayStation guy, but hey, you've got an Android tablet, now you've got Game Pass and you can play all these Xbox exclusives. Microsoft win there, It feels like it's a power move for a bigger strategy, and maybe we'll see in the short term a timed exclusive, but long term it will move to console exclusive or Game Pass exclusivity, because you can't really say console exclusivity anymore, can we? Because it's because Game Pass is available to everybody, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you kind of talk in the instance of, unfortunately, Xbox, and I don't want to say versus, Xbox and PlayStation, they are the two big competitors. I think that's the way you got to look at it. Is it going to be part of the Xbox ecosystem, or will it be allowed on the PlayStation ecosystem as well? I suppose
I think PlayStation ecosystem
what do you
long
think,
term
Phil?
will disappear.
Oh, sorry, go on, Riley.
Yeah, long term, I think that will disappear because it's got to. You don't drop 7.5 billion to go, we'll let everyone have this all the time. It's a lot of money to not do that.
Yeah, what do you think, Phil? Which way?
I think honestly, certainly the next kind of publicised, like your Fallout 5 and potentially Elder Scrolls 6, I think will be available on Xbox and PlayStation. I think they will be free on Game Pass, which will be the hook to get you into the Xbox ecosystem. And I think, as Ratley kind of said, moving further down the line, you're going to find that it's not really exclusive because it's in Game Pass and you can just stream it on your PC or your laptop or your tablet. So I think maybe some of the sooner franchises coming out will go on both, just to keep those people happy. But it's basically free if you're buying on the Xbox, and then eventually it just goes to Game Pass exclusivity. And as long as you've got Game Pass, you can play it. I mean, it's not unfeasible just to open a web browser on a PS5 and stream it there. So.
Well, yeah, potentially in the future, yeah. I think I've thought a lot about this myself, and I've kind of flip flopped between the two. And I was very much initially thinking, there's no way they're going to spend $7.5 billion and not put these out onto the PlayStation ecosystem, because over 100 million, is it, that PlayStation have sold? That's a lot of users out there and a lot of copies. Yeah, for PlayStation, and it's obviously not even including how many PS5s will be out there. So that's a huge chunk of the market to not sell it to. But then I kind of flip flopped in my own mind and thought, well, actually, they're spending $7.5 billion, so they want a big kind of draw to pull people into their platform, and to grow their platform. So, I think for definite, I think Starfield will be an exclusive to Xbox Xbox ecosystem. in terms of existing franchises, I think you'll probably see maybe timed exclusivity so they can still tap into that side of the market. But at the end of the day, who knows? Proof is in the pudding. So when it comes around, that's the only time we're really going to know about it, I suppose, isn't it? But
let's not forget, next gen game prices are sort of going up to 70. £80, maybe it's £100 if it's a special edition. That's quite a chunk of money to drop. If you've got that cheaper Xbox Series S and then you've got your PS5, for example, actually, do you want to spend £100 every time you get a game because you want to get the Ultimate Edition with the DLC? And then it's just included in Game Pass. I mean, hang on a sec. That's quite a compelling argument to go down the Xbox route there.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, the people at Xbox are a lot smarter than we are. That's why they're paid probably a lot more than we are. So they know what they're doing. And
Craig, we're not paid.
Wait, you guys get paid for this? What the hell,
Alan? We weren't telling Phil.
Spoil it now, Alan.
Man, that's why I can only afford one beer when I'm on here.
Oh, right. Well, I think a great thing to chat about, and I think that's probably a topic we're going to be talking about, for months to come as more and more information comes out, and I'm sure it will fairly readily. But just moving on the new generation of consoles that have been coming up. So obviously last week we had the PlayStation 5 pre-orders that went out. Was a bit of a shambles, a fustercluck as they call it. But then Xbox seemed to have everything all in hand. We knew the dates, we knew the times, we knew where we could go and how we could do it, but it still seemed to go a little bit wrong, to be honest. When you look at these reports on the internet, loads of people seem to have issues. There was loads of people struggling to get pre-orders. They were struggling to get online. There was websites crashing. It was just, again, an absolute mess, really. And I kind of guess I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that, really. I mean, Ratley, what was your experience for pre-ordering?
So, I mean, I did mine physically in a store. And I have to admit, mine was actually a doddle. Going old school and going to a store was actually really good. I walked down to the store for I think we got there about 20 to 8 in the morning. There's a bit of a queue. I think we were about 20th in the queue, something like that. And I must admit, when I got there, I was like, oh my God, are they going to have enough allocation to let us pre-order these? They sort of came out, they counted the queue out, and they were like, okay, we're cool. And they got past 30, and they were like, yeah, we're good. I was like, okay, this is impressive. And then I literally, walked in. They said, what do you want? I went on with Series X, and they were like, cool. And I was like, I'm doing it on all access. They were like, yep, this is how you do it. Pre-order done. Do your access tomorrow at home. I was like, okay, done. And I was out the store. Like, once I got into the store, I was in and out the store in less than 5 minutes, which was impressive. Wow. I think on the point of Microsoft did everything right in terms of notifying everybody and told everyone where to be. I think the biggest problem here is retailers across the board, whether it be Amazon, whether it be Game, whether it be Smiths, whatever, no one had set up enough space and bandwidth for this massive influx of traffic that was bound to happen. I do think there's a little bit of to play as well, with botting. Obviously there's people who use bots to try and buy these things. That Microsoft being good and telling everyone where to find it did set up the problem where they were going to get botted to hell with people trying to buy them to scalp them. It's a catch-22 because if you don't tell your customers when they can buy it, what you're supposed, we would have been in a Sony situation, which was bad in other ways. That if you weren't, like we said last week, you weren't sitting there watching Twitter or on the internet, how are you going to know that you need to pre-order your console, right? So there's no good or bad way to do this. For me, it was a great experience. Walked in, got my console, walked out. But I can see if you were sitting at home, a couple of my friends sitting at home trying to get them, had a real nightmare of a time. Quite a few people I know didn't get them. Some of that was because they couldn't be online at 8 a.m. But some of that was just because they couldn't get the website to clear and pay. And you certainly see a lot of that on Twitter, etc.
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
I think. Yeah, I think it was a fairly universal problem, not just in this country or
Yeah.
around the world. It seems there were the people who had issues, but again, there were some people had absolutely no problem whatsoever. Some people had loads of issues, and it was really stressful for them. I know for me personally, it was a pretty stress-free experience because Phil phoned me up in the morning, and went, "I'm just going in. Did you want me to just put that pre-order on for you?" I was like, "Yeah, cheers, mate. Nice one." So,
You're welcome.
I mean, do you want to talk about your pre-order experience, Phil? It was pretty simple,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
I mean, it was pretty stressful. I had to make sure I got up on time. I had to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, have a shower, brush my teeth, make sure I put some clothes on, so I don't go down to the store in my boxer shorts or something. But yeah, I walked in, I went up to the till, I logged in, I put my £5 in the till through the magic of contactless, and a receipt came out, and I was like, "That's my pre-order done." And then I did yours straight afterwards.
Your pain.
Mate, it's knowing the man behind the curtain. You see, look.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, actually, from speaking to other people, particularly with the online side of it, the retailers in particular that seem to struggle, from what I've heard, are the ones that have quite sort of outdated behind-the-scenes hardware. So, without mentioning names, or Game, from what I know I knew a few people that worked at Game, and their kind of infrastructure behind the scenes is pretty dated, because obviously they've been struggling a little bit, particularly in the wake of digital purchases and bits like that. And yeah, apparently their website was an absolute nightmare to get into. It was crashing and throwing people out, and they had queues of 80,000 people trying to get on the website and stuff. It was just...
And just for reference there, CEO of Game, Phil's thoughts are his own, so if there's any slander case going anywhere, direct it purely at Phil, not the rest of us, okay? Cheers.
I mean,
He does not
you
speak
could just
for the rest of us.
maybe just
James
bleep me
Brilliant.
out or something.
Shut up, Phil.
Make one of those boinging noises.
Stop talking, damn it. Stop talking.
The Unnamed Games podcast made it to episode 3 before they got sued to the hilt and all had to go and live in a shed somewhere.
Oh, well, at least if we're in that shed, maybe we'll all have a pre-order. Unless, did you get one, Alan?
I did. First of all, I'm a little bit disappointed that I wasn't given the same offer that you were by Phil. You know who your friends are. So I had, as I'm working from home, I resorted to the online ordering, and I tried Amazon first, and I was there sitting on my phone at 8 o'clock, and I just couldn't get it to come up. It just wouldn't come up. I couldn't order it. So after about 50 minutes, I believe Amazon sold out after 20 minutes. And then after that, I then went on to Argos. Other retailers are available. Actually, no, they're not. They've all sold out. But I went on to Argos and was able to get one straight away. So I'm sorted. But just talking about what you're mentioning, I think that's a really good point. I think companies like excuse me, Game and Smiths, I think they do have some slightly outdated infrastructure as far as their online purchases, because I believe they really weren't prepared for the level of demand that was going to happen. I don't think it was anywhere near as bad a rollout as PlayStation. We didn't have retailers jumping ahead of the game and people being disappointed. Yes, there's always going to be people disappointed in a pre-order, because there's never enough consoles for the amount of people that want them. But I think that was because, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think they were the one that had Microsoft's All Access packages, which you could order online.
Yeah,
and they were
Smiths
the
and
only
Game
ones.
did,
Yeah, which is why Game and Smiths, they were the only two sites you could go to for that package, and therefore everybody went there and it crashed.
Yeah.
So, that's... it happens, but I think the fact that all four of us managed to get consoles, even though we're maniacs, kind of shows that there were consoles out there, and a lot of people did manage to get them, and it was nowhere near a shambles as the PlayStation's was. Interesting facts that I read, something I wanted to mention. Did you read about in the USA, Amazon experienced a 754% increase in sales on Xbox One X?
Yeah, okay, you've got to be careful with that.
The Americans
I
can't
saw
tell
that.
the difference between the Series X and the One X.
Well, it's a sales ranking, and Amazon doesn't necessarily work sales ranking out on pure sales, but there is a part to do with that. Like, there's a certain amount, but a lot of people also think that's to do with botting, because people who set up bots will just smash through and find their thing and smash it out, because the level of peaking that would require would be a lot of people getting it wrong. It's not like one
Put
or
it this
two.
way,
It's
there's going to be a lot
of
of
people.
Amazon customers who are going to be sitting there either today or tomorrow when the delivery man turns up with an Xbox One X and delivers it to them. They go, "Well, it's arrived early."
I
And then
reckon
they
there's a
open-
lot of bots to do with that. I reckon there'll be a lot of bots, and there'll be a lot to return to Amazon going, "Oh, I purchased the wrong item." You know,
Yeah.
I mean, having said that, I've seen people make mistakes and brag about it
all
on
500
socials.
of them.
Yeah, I've seen brags on social going, got my new Xbox. Like one I saw was great. Some guy was giving it the big beans on some Facebook group, giving it, got my new Xbox, photo of Xbox One S pre-order. I was like, dude.
I mean, you can understand why people would get confused. I mean, you know, they haven't exactly been particularly savvy with their naming of the next generation consoles. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Xbox Series X, I can see what they're doing with the, you know, with the console brand, but you know, you've pretty much named it almost identical to your previous console. It's not really a stretch that people could get confused.
It's tough, isn't it? Because I think it's a naming convention, sure. And people say like, oh, you know, it's so confusing. It's like, well, yeah, numbers are the easiest way forward. But look at, for example, Samsung's naming convention on their phones. They have some dumbass names, and like the S20 is available in like 46 different flavors now, or something stupid. But people all seem to find the right one. It's a catch-22. Like there will be people who make mistakes. It's always going to happen. But I don't for a second believe that the majority of people like some of the media is building out to believe like all of these people made this horrible mistake to buy the wrong console. It just ain't going to happen like that.
Yeah.
It's a dumb. Don't get me wrong. The name should have been clearer, you know. But you know, it is what it is. But it also doesn't help if you went to Amazon at the beginning, like you were saying. You were on there, Alan. I don't know if you noticed, but I searched for in the queue in case I couldn't get my Series X pre-order at game that day for whatever reason. I sat there in the queue and went, right, I'm going to get Amazon up, and I got Amazon on my phone and typed Xbox Series X into Amazon, and the first 4 hits were Xbox One S, Xbox One X, and something else. But then the 4th hit down was the Series X. I'm like, seriously, Amazon needs to sort out their search algorithm as much as anything, right? Because how can you search for exactly that Xbox Series X and not get Xbox Series X as the first hit on your search? You know,
other online retailers are available.
Yeah, but you know,
we're not the BBC, mate. It's all right.
Yeah, it's not just that. There's a ton of these people, like these ones where same problem where it was wherever you went, you searched for that item and it wasn't the first thing on the list. How did it not become the first thing on the list? You know, like how can I search for exactly what it is?
I did exactly the same thing. I had a look on Amazon, and actually the thumbnail, when you looked on it, actually was just sort of the bottom half of the console for the Xbox One X. So it was even quite difficult to see. It just looked like a black rectangle. So if you were in an absolute hurry, yeah, you totally could have done that. And I think a lot of that is down more to potentially just how it was put up on, you know, Amazon's website at the time. You know, at the end of the day, it's people putting this stuff up. People make mistakes, don't put things up quite right. You know, stuff happens. But, you know, going back a little bit to how you sort of we're talking about the naming convention and how the name's been put across and how it's confusing. And I think you're totally right, Ratley, where you say, you know, like the Samsung phones, there's, you know, buckets of different flavors of phones out there. The same with the, you know, Apple iPhones and things, you know, X's and XRs and XS's and SEs and 5s and 10s. And, you know, people and consumers aren't stupid. They do know what they're looking for. And I think a lot of that stuff with, naming problems, it's fanboy stuff. You know, there's people over there kind of doing anything, clutching at straws to make something else sound stupid. And you could go with Xbox and say, okay, yeah, we could start numbering the Xboxes, but then you end up going, okay, we then got the PlayStation 5 would be up against the Xbox 4. You know, because it's the 4th console rather than the 5th console. So immediately then in people's minds, you know, subliminally, it's a 4, not a 5. It's not as high a number. You know, so I can see why they didn't. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that people are that stupid. But yes, you will have the odd, a bot certainly, but the odd people, you know, the parents, the grandparents who might get a bit confused with what they're going for. Yeah, I can see that, I suppose.
People aren't stupid as a rule, but there are stupid people out there. Let's not kid ourselves.
There's lots of stupid people out there. Yeah, definitely. Well, just moving on from pre-orders, and I guess kind of around that. So, did anybody pre-order any accessories? I mean, I know you certainly wouldn't have pre-ordered the SSD expansion drive because the price wasn't out at the time, but it is now. So anyone getting accessories? And then maybe we'll talk about the price that's been announced.
I didn't pre-order, but I kind of want one of those blue controllers. But then equally, I really have got enough Xbox controllers, so I'm trying to be a little bit more controlled. But that blue controller is that what with the white back is. Oh, that is tasty.
It's nice. Phil?
I'm going to say hell no, because I saw the price of said item and coughed a little bit, like I was at the doctor's being checked.
And you didn't pick any accessory up, Alan, either?
No, I didn't pick any up. I mean, I don't think we've said the price now. Was it $220?
Well, yeah, that was the bit moving on to next year. Was the it was £220, so £219.99 has been confirmed now.
You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, I mean, when I first got my Xbox One, it had, I think it was a 500 gig one, and then I upgraded to 1 terabyte, and then very quickly filled that up. So went and bought an external 1 terabyte drive, and then filled that up. So went and bought a 4 terabyte drive. But, you know, to be honest, it just means that you have to manage your games a little better, and you just can't have your entire back catalogue, you know, ready and downloaded and ready to go. I mean, the price is high, yeah, sure, but it's an expensive piece of kit, and it's all tied into the speed of the console, isn't it? So it's not entirely, you know, it is understandable that the price is as high as it is. But at the moment, you know, due to, you know, I'm already forked out for the console, I won't be looking this year to be buying anything, especially the SSD drive. But I'm the same as Ratley. I've got about half a dozen controllers upstairs, although to be fair, about 3 of them don't work. I don't think they make them as good as they used to. But
yeah. Well, me and Phil were having a bit of a conversation about that proprietary expansion drive and the price of high-speed NVMe drives. I don't know if you wanted to kind of talk a bit about that, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, the conversation we had was actually the pricing is quite surprisingly fair. If you were to search for like a top quality Samsung NVMe SSD drive that has that kind of 5 gigabits plus transfer rate, actually, I think we looked it up, it was sort of around about the 199 to kind of 250 for a 1 terabyte version.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that was kind of all I was really going to get at is, like, I did cough and I was like, oh my God, that's a lot. And I kind of thought about it and had the chat with you and did the research. And actually, I was like, it's still pretty reasonable.
On that, for like, I was doing some research on it, and I think the biggest problem that people are going to say, they'll look at a lot of people, and I mean, I didn't really fully understand it. I'll be honest, I did a bit of research the last few days, and people are going, oh, but I can buy a 1 terabyte SSD for this. And what people don't realise is not all SSDs are created equal. And it's all about that. And I think with both the PlayStation and with the Xbox, they're custom drives and they're designed about not just peak output, like, you know, they're designed as constant, or, you know, that is their flat out all the time. They have a higher peak, but a lot of them only peak up to that 2 gigabyte or whatever it is that the Xbox puts through. So yeah, I think, yeah, like you say, the pricing is actually fair for what it is. But I think a lot of people thought they were going to be cheaper because people don't understand how expensive these high-end drives are.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's, you know, I mean, I've got an NVMe drive in my desktop PC, but it's nowhere near to the specification of what would be in the Series X. And I mean, I spent about 140 on that, I think. And that's a lower end one. Yes, it's faster than a standard SSD would be because it's you know, PCI Express. It plugs directly into the motherboard and it runs at a faster speed than SATA. But yeah, you're totally right. People just don't. Some people don't get the differences and understand the differences. That, again, like you say, that not all SSDs are created equally. So no, I think that's, you know, I personally think it's a pretty fair price. Is it something I want to fork out for straight away? No, I don't think so. I'm quite happy to start off with my existing external drive that I've got for my Xbox One X, and I'll keep all of my backwards compatible, my last gen games on there, and any next gen games that will actually harness this power of that speed more, then I'll put them onto the main drive and I can kind of switch and swap from there. So, you know, I'm quite happy to do that to start with, really. But,
also, just on the
I thought it was interesting.
Point,
sorry, go on.
The accessories point, I was just going to say, like, I love the fact that none of us went, oh, I need to buy an extra controller or anything. Not one of us has gone, I need an extra controller, because of the brilliant idea that all of our existing stuff is just going to work with the new one. So if I've got 6 controllers, which, let's be honest, I do, I don't need to go, oh my God, it's a console plus an extra controller if I want to play with anyone on the couch, etc. It's just like, oh, I've got all the controllers I've already got and they all work, you know, and that's great.
Yeah.
done. It was
controllers, headsets, all that
exactly
stuff.
my
You've got
headset,
it already.
straight in. All this stuff. So I think that's a really big plus point to not gloss over. It's not just there wasn't any accessories to buy, and the only thing that was expensive is that none of us needed to buy them. We've got all the accessories we could want.
Yeah. Okay. So I think is there anything else you want to add to that, Phil, or you?
Well, it's more of a personal thing. I just want to say a sad moment. My Elite controller finally died again. The bumper broke, and after one repair, it's sad times. But I did get a bargain on an Elite Series 2, so
nice.
Good for me. Thankfully, it's not out of date in a month's time.
Always a good upgrade.
Elite Series 3
I'll
announced
have
tomorrow.
your old one off you again, and I'll fix it again. Yeah. Cool. Right. Well, I think time we move on a little bit more because time's getting on a bit now. So I think the next point we wanted to go over was actually that the Series S at TGS, the Tokyo Game Show, actually had a price drop. It wasn't massive. Well, it was massive in yen, like however many thousand, but that's not as much in pounds. But they've had a bit of a price drop there, and I know they're very aggressively heading towards the Japanese market, and a market that they've never been able to break into. And potentially with something like the S, very, very small, also with xCloud as another proponent to that as well, potentially they could have some success there. I think really my kind of thought behind this and what I wanted to ask you guys is, do you think that when they start getting the sales numbers through and, the pre-order numbers through, do you think that there's room potentially for that S to go down even further in the UK and US? How about you first, Ratley?
It's already very, very low, let's be honest, right? I think we're more likely to see promotional activity with it moving. I don't think it's going to become a permanent, well, not for a while anyway, a permanent price drop. I think the reason it's being targeted so aggressive is, like I say, they want, it's a harder market for them to crack, let's be honest. They're up against a Japanese company who are well entrenched in their own home market. They've got a better library of games for that market. You only have to look at how Microsoft have gone after Japanese titles and adding them to things like Game Pass to see how much they're after that market. And I do understand the aggressive price points. What I think they're trying to do there is go, we know you're going to buy a PlayStation, but if you've got a spare bit of cash, how about a really cheap second console? And they're just trying to get that price down as low as they can to just tempt a few more people across as an extra, So it makes me wonder, though, if they're going that aggressively.
That makes sense.
It does make me wonder if they're going that aggressively about whether or not there's something coming in regards to, content like Satya Nadella said that we're not done buying studios. Maybe they're eyeing up some kind of content that goes alongside that, and they'll push that. I don't know, but you would have thought if that was the tactic, they probably would have dropped the price when they announced that. I don't know, but it certainly is. I think they're only pricing it that aggressively there because they're after that. They're not even after stealing sales. They're just after picking up an extra, like for the hardcore gamers. Oh, you want to play games that aren't on your PlayStation? You can pick up an Xbox cheap.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense, mate. Yeah, and I think it's a very, very valid point there. What are your thoughts on that, Phil?
I think I kind of agree with Ratley in terms of I think they're sort of trying to dig into that Japanese market and see if they can pick up some kind of tail end sales almost. I don't honestly think it will work, to be perfectly honest with you, because a lot of the kind of Japanese market is going to mobile gaming, and that's a really big thing over there. They're not particularly interested in these home consoles and big TVs and stuff. It's all about how small can you make your tech and how clever. I think you made another interesting point, Ratley, as to whether maybe Xbox have a plan or a plan of attack to get into the Japanese market. I'm deep down secretly hoping maybe they'll buy Konami and they'll stop ruining Metal Gear Solid then. But that's more like a pie in the sky wish for me personally. But I think probably to answer your question for the UK and US markets, I don't think we'll see a price drop. I think what we'll see is bundles. They'll do a Game Pass bundle. They'll do bundles with games, physical games. Actually, with the console, you buy a console, get these two games, kind of like they did particularly earlier on in the generations with the Xbox One. It's like buy this and get Tekken 7 and Project Cars, and you get it's for like up to 4 games for basically 10 quid more than the console was.
Be difficult with if you're getting physical games though, because it hasn't got a disc drive, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, maybe like digital cards inside it.
I didn't
I
want to
was just
say that.
referring the difference.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't want to say that.
I know, yeah.
ramble like a moron, but yeah, you know what I mean. I think there'll be digital games kind of built into the console. Sorry, not physical games.
Yeah, I totally knew what you meant, but it was too funny to not pick it up. Sorry, mate.
And Phil, we don't need to lead you. You go there all on your own, mate.
Oh, mate, you led me to the water.
Yeah.
I just drank.
Oh, what are your thoughts, Alan? Do you think we'll see anything like that?
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with the guys. I don't see Microsoft aggressively reducing the price. I mean, just to put it into some context, I mean, it's 32,980 yen originally, which is actually cheaper in pounds, which is 247 pounds. So it was already by a couple of pounds cheaper, and now that's gone to 29,980 yen, which is 223. So, I mean, that's a ridiculously cheap next generation console. But the question is whether the Japanese market, as Phil rightly points out, is actually interested in any way whatsoever. But I seriously don't think that that Microsoft are going to be looking to reducing the price in the other markets. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, yeah. Now, some people will think that Alan's got this stuff written down on a piece of paper like he's done his homework, but he's actually a cyborg. And the reason that we have to do this on a Friday night is because on a Saturday he has to have his firmware update. Isn't that right, Alan?
Yeah, and I'll be expecting you about 7:30, Craig.
Yeah. Update you with my firmware. Oh, my word. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Oh, dear.
So when we were talking a little bit earlier, and I know you mentioned, Phil, about the Japanese market, being so heavily weighted towards mobile, and I think that's really interesting because obviously we've got the whole xCloud situation going on. I think they're going to push that really hard in Japan because again, it's all going to be on mobile. I don't know what the internet speeds are like there, but particularly in the urban areas, I can imagine that it's quite a technological society that is going to be pretty decent over there. But in terms of cloud competition, if you like, just before we came on, I think it was yesterday, we had a little post pop up about Amazon cloud gaming service called Luna when they did their tech announcement. So it seems very much going down the same way that Stadia did, Google Stadia. Less said about Stadia, the better, I think, personally. But
like a lead balloon, then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess do Amazon have Amazon done something differently? Have Amazon got something else up their sleeve that is going to make a success? Where, let's be honest, Google really, really tripped up on this one. I think Alan's probably the best person to go for this first. I'd really like to get your thoughts on it, mate, if I could.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been reading up about this. I've got a vested interest. So. I mean, it's going to be an all-inclusive subscription model. They're saying 100 plus games, possibly around the price range, especially at the beginning, $5.99 per month. The games are going to stream in 4K, 60 frames per second. And what I think is a big selling point is you can actually play two devices on a single subscription, which is a rather nice touch. And also because it's going to work like kind of like a gaming channel that you can actually do. They're going to have different channels, different game channels, and one of the deals they're currently partnering with or looking to partner with is Ubisoft. So there may very well be another channel, an Ubisoft channel, where you can stream their games. And another interesting thing about it that I read was that it's all going to be tied into Twitch, which Amazon already owns, which means you'll be able to watch games being streamed from Luna, and vice versa. You'll instantly be able to play games when you're watching them on Twitch. You'll be able to immediately convert and start playing on Luna and start playing that game. I think that, I mean, Amazon over the past few years have definitely been, they're sort of tapping into all different markets, especially the gaming market. They've got their own studios now bringing out games and things like that. And I think it's a good fit for them. And I think that from what I've heard so far, as long as they don't have the same sort of like pitfalls that Google have had with Stadia, I think they could be onto a winner because there's definitely a market out there for it. And what they're offering seems like a really good package.
Yeah, I think the key thing you're talking about there with the whole subscription service is one of the main things where Stadia seems to have fallen down. Stadia is saying, yeah, pay us a subscription, that gives you access, and then you have to buy all your games. And it just doesn't seem that attractive unless you're somebody who's got an incredibly great internet connection and absolutely no space for a PC or anything like that. Then maybe it's something that's good for you. But
Exactly.
I think they've
It's the game. Sorry, it's the Game Pass model, isn't it? Again, it's like pay your
yeah.
subscription fee, you get all of these games. That's
Yeah, and at $5.99, I mean, there's no way it's going to stay at that for long because it's not sustainable. But as a beta test, for a certain set of games, I can imagine it being maybe a 15 quid a month, something like that, which is potentially still good value. And I think talking about Twitch and having the Twitch integration is a really key selling feature, something that Stadia tried to do with YouTube. Now on two fronts, Twitch is the biggest by far streaming platform. YouTube is a big platform, but in terms of the streaming world, it's nowhere near as big as Twitch.
There's a couple of other points, Craig. They also said that it connects directly to the cloud and prioritizes uninterrupted Wi-Fi for lower latency. So the reductions are between 70 and 30 milliseconds on PC, Fire TV, and Mac compared to the standard Bluetooth.
Yeah, it's very similar to what Stadia is doing.
Stadia
so I think
does the
in
same
terms
thing.
of technology, it's not going to be hugely. Yeah, it's not going to be hugely different. The key point is it's the whole integration with Twitch, which is a much bigger platform, and having the subscription model, so you're paying for a chunk of games rather than paying for a service and then having to buy your games on that service. So I guess that's my position on it. Really, I guess Ratley, if you've got anything you want to add on to that.
I mean, going back, the comparisons are obviously going to get made to both Stadia and Game Pass. I think from my understanding, Stadia, let's rip Stadia. It's a sad day for Stadia. I say sad day, like they haven't had many before. I think the biggest problem is Stadia has definitely had the issue of. Yeah, just sad Ben Affleck, yeah, or sad Keanu. Stadia sitting on a bench all on its own. Like, what have I done wrong? The biggest issue is for Stadia, like you said, is you pay to get access to it, right? And then you have to buy the games, and that's always been my sticking point with Stadia. I thought the idea of a streaming service was cool, but to force me to buy games on your platform just to play them is ridiculous. And especially when you look at how Xbox was doing it at the time, it's like, well, I pay a subscription, I get the games. Doesn't make sense. And now Amazon have come along and done the same thing. Well, not quite the same thing, but the same type of thing that Xbox do. And you can just see that everyone who's been telling Google for however long, this is a stupid model. You need to stop charging for games and charge a one-off price that puts everything in a bundle, and that's how it's done it. And it just proves that that's the model that we're going to see going forward, that Netflix style model, My only thing is I'm reading bits about it, and I don't know if this is right or not, but it sounds like Amazon are saying they'll go like almost the premium TV subscription model, in that you subscribe to channels and it costs X amount, so you build your bundle, is kind of what I'm getting the vibe of. So if you want the Ubisoft channel, it'll be £5 a month. So it could end up being a very expensive service to get all the channels. However, if you only want to play, say there's a role-playing game channel and you're only into RPGs, that could be a really good way to have access to a ton of RPGs at a very low cost. So I actually think
that is good.
There's some cool stuff, some cool ideas with the way Amazon are doing it. Whether or not it's going to represent particularly brilliant value long term, if you're a very sort of multifaceted gamer and you like different types of games, so you're really into fighting games, but you also like RPGs, you like shooting games, because I like to dip my foot into a lot of different things. There are certain genres that do turn me off, but most of it is just I'll give that a go, see what it's like. That worries me a little bit about it, but I do think that the model is a much better shout than what Google did. Do I think it's as clean an offering as Game Pass? No, I think Game Pass offers me a much easier way of going, right, there's 100 titles, it's a bit of everything, I get this, here we go. One price for the whole lot. But we'll see. Amazon are only releasing it as a test, or not a test, but a beta kind of thing at the minute. It'll be interesting to see where it goes and how the uptake they get. They've certainly got the money and the sort of want to get it down, and they're certainly not in the business
and the
Google.
infrastructure.
Yeah, and the infrastructure. But Google's worry, and a lot of people have been this worried about Google things, is like the Google graveyard, as it's often referred to, is how many services have Google started only to bin off, and this is the biggest issue I think with buying games on Stadia, is people have been like, well, what if in a year you bin off Stadia because you've got a real track record of this, so it's, I think Amazon don't have that track record. Amazon are a really smart company. I can see this doing well for them, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I think, like I said, they've got the massive infrastructure. I mean, they're one of the biggest players, if not the biggest player in the cloud market now, in terms of their server sites and storage. They've got the backing of it, and they're going the right way. And actually, it's really interesting because I didn't read that point about them potentially doing channels, which is exactly what they do on Prime Video. You can go in there and you can have a Stars Play channel or whatever if you like those particular types of TV shows, or an HBO or whatever it might be, AMC. And I think that's a really interesting way of doing it, actually. Puts them in a different ballpark to Xbox. I think Xbox have got all the kind of hardware and stuff as well. They're more of a complete solution, but I think Amazon have definitely got their head in the right place, where Stadia's just go a bit backwards on that.
There is one other point that we may be overlooking as
Phil,
well. One other point,
sorry, go on.
Phil, where we're looking, and I think this has been something which no one's really talked about, is think about Twitch and think about Amazon Music and think about Amazon Video. If you have Amazon Prime, you get Twitch Prime for one Twitch streamer. You get Amazon Video. You get Amazon Music, all included in that at a base level. Sure, you can buy extra channels, like you say, but that's all included if you have Amazon Prime. So what's to say that they won't do something similar like this? Because that would be a power move.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. That would make a big difference. Yeah, maybe having a base set of maybe 20 or 30 games that are part of your Prime subscription, and then you subscribe to channels within it. That's really interesting. Yeah, no, good insight there. So Phil, you're going to get yourself a Luna when they come out, do you think, or?
Well, I don't think I'll invest on day one. Unless, as you said, it ends up getting included in my Twitch Prime subscription, then I'll be all in on that. I think the big thing for me for all of these kind of streaming services, it's all about the timing, and I think this is the smart time to launch that service, because there's a lot of people who've bought like a cheap PS4 towards the end of the lifespan. Certainly I picked up a PS4 Pro only last year, and it had already been out at least 2 years, and then kind of caught up with the games. I think now with the launch of the next gen PS5, the next gen Xbox actually, and the potential of these games going up in price too, paying 70, 80, maybe over £100 for a premium edition. If you've got that little streaming service in there that I know it's starting at $5.99, and I think you're very right, like that's going to go up, or certainly there's going to be additional cost involved in each of the channels. But actually, if I subscribe to the Ubisoft channel, is that then going to give me access to Watch Dogs Legion? Because if it is, that's potentially a £70 game. If that channel's an extra $5, I'll pay that for a couple of months to play through Watch Dogs Legion. So I think this service sounds great. I think Amazon is the right company to do it, and they've listened to the feedback of Stadia and gone, well, since you're not doing anything, we'll do it instead. And I think it's that cornering that next gen market is what potentially could launch Luna properly. Get in there, get the games are getting more expensive, but pay us a little bit extra a month, and you can get access to this. And then when you're bored of that, you can hop over to our other channel over here, our CD Projekt Red channel. You can go into Cyberpunk. I think that's a really smart move by Amazon.
Yeah. Again, all this stuff, we can only guess at the moment. Proof is in the pudding. We'll tell over time what's going to be successful, what's not going to be successful. Now, I think we could probably talk about this stuff for hours and hours and hours, but we do have to try and limit this show down a little bit, because for our first episode, we ran over by about 40 minutes. And I think we're going to run over a little bit on this one. But it's all good fun to have a good chat, isn't it? So I think what we'll do... It has been a busy week, and actually it seemed like a busy week, and then something else happened, and it just got built up and up and up and up and up. And poor old Alan, he put the running order together today, and there's more to put on there, Al. Oh gosh, so
nothing will happen next week, and we'll have nothing to talk about, right?
All the stuff we didn't talk about from this week.
Totally. Yeah. So, you may have noticed earlier on that I didn't ask Alan for a jingle for the news today. And the reason I didn't ask him about that was because he told me he'd done one. And I thought, you know what, bugger you. You wouldn't give me it when I wanted it, so you can't do it. No, go on, Alan. Do you want to do it now? You can do it as a closer.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Ooh.
This is the news. This is the news. This is the news. News. There's a copyright.
Right. It's a regular feature, mate. You've got to do that every single time we do the news now.
Be
Are
my
we all in
pleasure.
agreement?
What just happened?
Absolutely. I mean, that is a done deal.
What?
Did you black out there, Ratley?
I know. It was so awesome. Chris can't actually compute.
I've lost the
It's
ability
actually
to speak.
horizontal right now.
Brilliant. Right. Okay. Right. On that bombshell, as Clarkson would say, we're going to take a break there. And afterwards, we'll come back and go into another section. So we'll see you all in a bit.
Okay, let me put it this way. If I knew that Edie was going to install herself into a sexy robot body, do you honestly think I'd be able to keep quiet about it? Look at that. I would have baked a cake.
I am right here, Jeff.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back after that short break. Now, we've had a lot of news to talk about this week, so we've kind of run over by 3 times what we'd allocated for the time to talk about the news. When Alan, bless him, put the news together initially, there was three sections of it. Then another thing came out, then another thing came out, then another thing came out. So we're going to skip over our discussion topic that we were going to do this week, and we might put that over to next week, depending on how much news comes out. What we'll probably do is we're going to move straight over to the quiz. However, one thing to do just before the quiz is I think Alan's got a little shout out he wants to do.
Yeah. So we apparently have a regular listener. This is a friend of my wife's, Ellie, Patrick Wojar. Apparently he's been listening since episode 1, so we want to say thank you very much for supporting us, and keep on listening and share with all your friends, and thanks for listening, Patrick.
Cheers, Patrick.
Yes, Patrick.
Man.
Job.
Yeah, I mean, I'm amazed someone
and
part
I've
with
got-
us for 2 episodes. Like that is endurance.
You say us, Chris. What you really mean is Phil.
Wow.
Aw.
Way to throw me under the bus,
I mean,
boys.
I'll be honest.
Phil's becoming the whipping boy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I think Phil gets a bit of a bad rep. I am equally as annoying as Phil.
I can't argue with that.
I
So-
think we share the annoying equally. Let's all have it equally, all right? You know, it's. I've got a quick shout out to do as well. Just shout out to Neil Sharp, Squiddy. He's been listening and given some great feedback, so I really appreciate it, buddy. I know a couple of you guys know who he is, but have you guys got anyone that's listening you want to do a shout out for?
Yeah, I'd do a shout out to Sherman, but you told me it so.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
The time is 1 minute 54, Craig, for that bleep.
He said it was pretty good. He was pleasantly surprised. I think that's his way of being positive.
Anyone you know been listening, Chris?
No, none of my friends like me.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
So really, when you use the term friends, you mean that loosely.
Sorry, let me say, none of my acquaintances like me. There you go. No, most people I don't admit are just too busy to be truthfully honest, mate. Because let's be honest, we aren't the shortest podcast on the planet. A lot of them have been struggling to make entire episodes, which is fair. We do have a lot. We are very well versed in spoken people. We like to get our opinions heard.
We waffle.
Yeah, that's the other way to put it. Yeah, yeah, far too much.
Cool. Right. Well, now those bits are out of the way. Yeah. What we'll do is we're going to move on to the quiz. So I'm going to jump out of the host's chair, and I'll let Alan sit down.
Thanks, Craig. So, welcome, guys, to the Ultimate Games Quiz.
Ooh.
It'll be fun whether you like it or not. So, every question answered correctly is worth 1 million points.
No,
You're doing the scoring for this, right, bro?
I think I can add this up, Phil. It's okay.
No half measures,
so-
eh?
We've got a couple of different sections in here, and the first section is going to be a specialisation section with a few questions for each of you individually, depending on what you said your favourite game of all time was.
God.
I hope you really do know your favourite games.
Swat.
I'm gonna start with Craig, and his game was the Halo Master Chief Collection.
Yeah.
You ready?
No.
Okay.
That pause was to bring up Google.
Right. Okay, so pipe down. Here we go, Craig. Question 1. In Halo ODST, which actor voices the character Buck?
That is Nathan Fillion.
That is correct.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell me 3 other games Nathan Fillion has done a voice for?
Halo 5. I'm going to say the Firefly game, because there was a Firefly game. Don't know if he voiced it, but it's worth a punt.
Gonna have to rush you.
Yeah. No, I can't.
No,
Sorry.
You're going to kick yourself when I tell you this. No, he did not voice in the Firefly game.
No.
That was another actor. He actually was in Jade Empire.
Never played it.
Saints Row, Get Out of
Quality
Hell.
game.
Halo 5, which you got correct. You're going to kick yourself for this, Craig. Destiny
Oh,
and
God.
Destiny 2.
Of course. Cade 6.
Yes.
Oh, it's when you're on the spot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so your final question, kind of, in this section is, what year was Halo Combat Evolved released?
2001.
Correct.
Yes.
And for a bonus million points, can you tell me which month?
Oh.
That would be.
I'm not 100%. I'm going to go. I'm going to play the. I'm going to say October.
So close, my friend. It was November.
Ah, dang it.
That's you with 2 million points after your specialisation round. The
Lovely.
next question, guys, is for all of you, but I don't want you to shout out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of you and I'll ask you your answer, and whoever gets closest to the answer will receive 5 million points.
Nice.
Big stakes
Okay,
round.
so here we go. How many dots are there in Pac-Man, the original
Hold on. Do we need
game?
to do what? Oh, are we
No,
doing a buzzer?
if you're
Sorry.
asking-
No,
Sorry,
you're
yeah.
not doing a buzzer. Do listen, Craig. I'm going to
Sorry.
ask you.
My bad.
How many dots are there in Pac-Man, the original game? Phil, your guess, please.
Oh, I'm going to go 100.
Okay. And Craig.
I'm going to say 101.
Wow, bro. Wow.
Oh, there's Craig showing his true colours. And Chris.
99.
If he says 99,
Yes.
so really you would just single out maximization of its
No,
best.
to be fair,
If it's 100,
to be fair, I was actually going to say, I'll be fair. I was actually going to say 68. So I just wanted to say 99 because it just had to be done at that point, didn't it?
Okay, so
68 is my
the
actual
correct
guess.
answer.
68 is my actual guess.
And quite frankly, Chris, I'm very disappointed. It should have been 69, dude.
Yeah.
But the number is 244.
Wow.
Which makes Craig the winner of the 5 million points.
Wow.
fantastic.
How is that 200? Wow.
So that takes
That's
Craig to
mental.
7 million points.
Nice.
Okay.
Tough with that.
The next specialisation questions are for Phil. Are you ready?
Oh, okay.
Now, your game of all time was Animal Crossing.
Yes. No.
Nothing wrong with the game. I'm just pointing this out. My wife loves it. But your game was Final Fantasy XIV, right?
Or the Old Republic. I mentioned both, but whichever you prefer.
Okay, Phil. Question number 1. Final Fantasy XIV was the second MMORPG in the series. Which Final Fantasy title was the first?
Final Fantasy 11.
Absolutely correct. Released in 2002. So that's 1 million points to Phil so far.
Too bad.
Question 2. Can you name the first 3 primals you fight in the game?
Yeah, Ifrit, Garuda, and Titan.
Correct.
2,000 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like
been
your
like
Halo
being-
wouldn't look the
being
same
asked
if we
with
counted it from
dinosaurs and
original Xbox.
Okay. Next question. Third question. What year was the first Final Fantasy released?
Oh, but not 14, you mean the original Final Fantasy?
The first Final Fantasy.
Ooh. Well, I'd have to take a guess on that one. 1994?
Sadly, that's incorrect. It was 1987.
Oh,
I'll give
fair
you
enough.
a shot in the dark. You got the year wrong, but you get the same choice. Can you tell me which month?
March?
December. Sorry, Phil.
Oh, do you know I was failed?
So after that round, Phil's got 2 million points. The next question is another one for all of you. I will be asking you for the answers. How many square miles are there in the Assassin's Creed Odyssey map? First, I will ask Craig.
Right. How many square miles in the Assassin's Creed Odyssey map? I'm going to say... that's a tough one, that is. I'll say 500.
500 square miles from Craig. Okay. Yeah. Next, I'll ask you, Chris.
1,500.
I love hearing your thinking, Chris.
Yeah, 1,500 square miles. We'll go with that.
300 square miles from Chris.
1,500. 150.
He said, yeah.
1,500, sir. 15.
Oh, 1,500. I've got you. Cool.
I'm going big.
Okay, cool. And Phil?
I think that sounds quite large. I'm going to play the other end of the card entirely. I'm going to go 80 square miles.
Well, that's a good choice, Phil. I think you'll find that the actual amount is 90.4 square miles. And to put that into context, Skyrim is 14.5 square miles. It's huge.
It is a massive game.
That's why I couldn't get my head around it. I couldn't get my head around it.
So after that round, Phil finds himself square pegging with Craig at 7 million points, with Chris yet to score.
It's not looking good.
And now it's Chris's specialisation questions, which will be on the Mass Effect trilogy.
God damn it.
It's your favourite game of all time, apparently. Question number 1. Who voices the pilot of the Normandy in Mass Effect?
His name's just... It's Seth. Seth. The name's just disappeared out of my head. I can see his face. It's the ginger guy.
Do you need us to call you an ambulance, Chris?
No, I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember it, and I feel like I know exactly who it is.
I'm going to push you one last
time.
No,
I can't get it, man. I can't. No,
you can't get it.
I've drawn a blank.
Go on, Craig. You want to say it?
Seth Green.
Of course it is.
Point though. I'm sorry.
Okay. Surname.
So you're going to love this next one, Chris. Question 2. Can you name 3 other games he has done a voice for?
Jesus. Genuinely, no, I can't. I can only hear him as Joker. Like, I can't think of a single game he's been in. He's probably done loads of little bit voices, like for things like Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that. But genuinely, not a clue, mate. Not a clue.
So you got nothing for me, yeah?
Yeah, but hold on. I gotta say, like, I'm just gonna say, not because I'm struggling, but these are on our favourite games ever. But they're not really. They're on an actor. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying.
Tell you what, you can do the quiz next week.
I feel like you might be missing something really obvious here, but I'm not going to say anything else.
Well, there's Mass Effect 2 and 3.
This is the point.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2 and 3, but I can't get 3. Yeah, but that's I could go Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, but that's surely other games. It's not Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, is it?
No, you're right to a certain extent. You can't say Mass Effect because my question was who voices the pilot of the Normandy in Mass Effect.
Oh, come on, yeah.
So you could have had Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. What else is Seth Green in that he's quite famous for, Craig?
Buffy.
What else has he been in? He's been in Austin Powers. Family Guy, yeah.
There's about 3 Family Guy games, Family Guy, The Quest for Stuff, Family Guy Back in the Multiverse. He's in all of those. He's also in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, where he does the voice of Poindexter in the Zombies. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as Leonardo, and Lego Dimensions as King Kong, strangely enough.
King Kong? So, that's an interesting one.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on.
I wouldn't go any of those.
With the bonus, Chris. What year was Mass Effect released?
The first one?
Yes.
Well, so it came out with the 360. I'm going to say 2005?
Oh, so close. 2007, I'm afraid.
God damn
So And as a bonus question, if you can answer it, do you know which month?
September?
It's November, I'm afraid.
Oh.
So I'm afraid Chris finishes that round with nil point. Moving on to the final numbers question. How many times is the F word used in the main storyline for GTA 5? And I'm going to ask Phil first.
So the numbers go that high.
All right, I'm going to take a shot in the dark here, and I'm going to go 1,025 times.
Okay, and then I'm going to go to Chris.
I'm going to go with... trying to think how long that campaign is and all the bits that I played in it, and I'm just trying to think about how many times they would have sworn each time. Because, I guess it's official dialogue lines, as in when they're actually having conversations, not when you're playing the game and they just randomly start swearing at each other.
Yeah, if you're just walking around, it's in the storyline.
I would say probably, let's go 850.
Okay, thanks, Chris. And you, Craig?
I'm going to go... See, you're not... Yes, it's just... Okay, so just campaign dialogue. It's not all the
you're going to count them, aren't you?
around.
Because if you figure out they're not in the streets, just in the missions, that'll give you a much clearer idea, right?
I'm going to go...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Count them. Yeah.
I'm going to go... Yeah. I know the exact number with them. No. I'm going to say 473.
Can I change my answer? I want to go higher. Can I go for like 1,100?
You can't change your answer after you've already put it in.
Your first answer.
I kind of threw the 25 in there, but I'm now thinking like it's going to be like 1,200 times, something stupid like that.
Well, you know what? Actually, Phil wins the point because the actual amount is 1,018 times. And some guys just sat there and counted every single time. As a bonus million points, and Phil already has those in the bag for that question, do you know who says it the most? Franklin, or I've forgotten the other names.
Michael
Trevor.
and Trevor.
Yeah, Michael. Thanks, wife.
I think Trevor's going to be the
I
guy.
reckon it's got to be... I'm thinking Franklin.
I'm thinking Franklin.
Chris, who do you think?
Trevor.
Okay, it is actually Franklin.
Ah.
So that's a
Too
point extra for
bad.
both Craig and...
No, his ain't.
So at the end of that round, that leaves us with Chris on nil point, Craig on 8 million points, and Phil on 9 million points.
Oh.
So the next section, should be over very quickly, is the speed general knowledge round. So could I have your buzzers, please?
Who first?
Go for Craig. What's your buzzer?
They do that, though, don't they, though?
Yeah, they do. Okay, Chris?
Timmy.
What was that?
Timmy.
Yeah, I'm so going to catch that when you're all calling out. Phil?
Ooh, bad.
Nice. Good choice. Good choice. Okay, giggity gig. Okay, are you ready, boys?
Yep.
Timmy.
Who was the writer and designer of System Shock 2?
Do that, though, don't they, though?
Craig.
Warren Spector.
Wasn't it Ken Levine?
Maybe. You. I
I
might be wrong.
No, I'm actually saying I'm pretty sure it was Ken Levine. It said it on the internet, so it must be true.
Okay. But Warren Spector must...
Do we need to Google this?
Yeah,
That's
Google
fine
it,
if that's not
Google
the
it, 'cause
answer.
I don't want to deprive Craig of a point that could win him, but you've made me doubt myself. But I'm pretty sure I checked it. So
You're the
just double
quizmaster.
check.
Your
He was definitely
your
worked
answer
on the
is
game.
law. Your answer is law.
Okay. In which case, that's a point to Craig. Then I must have messed that up. Okay, move on to the next question then.
Should I Google it? Never mind.
What is the second best-selling game of all time, with Minecraft being number one, of course?
Do that, though, don't they, though?
Go on, Craig.
Tetris.
No, it's not the second best-selling.
Ooh, bad.
Phil.
I'm thinking GTA 5.
Boom.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
I remember that being, like,
you were very
top 10
close,
for
Craig,
years.
actually, because Tetris is the third best selling game of the time. And 4 is Wii Sports.
All right.
Gotta love people who think they can get fit and thin.
Whilst playing video games.
I'd just
Yeah.
like to confirm that Ken Levine is in fact the correct answer for the writer and designer of System Shock 2.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that's 1 point deducted from Craig. Sorry, Craig.
Yeah, I know that Spectre worked on it.
Yeah.
But, I
But
must
not
have
the
got it in
writer and
wrong role.
designer. So that's okay. Next question: which actor or actress, should I say, has voiced characters in over 34 video games, including the following: Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, Mass Effect 3, Final Fantasy 14, God of War, Rage, Diablo 3, Dragon Age.
Tim Air,
I can't remember the start of this question.
Go on, Chris.
Trisha Helfer.
No. Farscape the game. No?
Do that, don't they do?
Go on, Craig.
I think the question initially, I didn't quite make it out, was a voice actor in these games.
Yes.
Laura Bailey?
No, I'm afraid not. As a final, you can all carry on answering, but I'll tell you, she already stars in the movie Pitch Black.
Do that, don't they do? Claudia
Your
Black.
buzzer.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah,
Claudia
absolutely
Black, yeah.
correct. Claudia Black.
Yeah, that's Susan. Yeah.
I was really struggling to.
You got in just ahead of me, Craig.
Kind of, I was pitching it. I was really struggling to.
No, did I? Oh,
It's amazing how many games. It's like I heard her in like Diablo, and I was like, oh my god, she's like in every game. She's Morrigan in like Dragon Age. She's in Diablo 3 as I can't remember what the Spider Queen is called, but she's in so many games. So Anyway, moving on to the next question. Pac-Man ghosts are called Blinky, Pinky, and Inky. What is the fourth one called?
do that, don't they do?
Go on, in, Craig.
Stinky?
Nope. Phil or Chris?
Ooh, red.
Phil.
Oh, was it Clyde or something?
That's absolutely correct.
Wait, well done, mate.
Nice.
I remember that being written on a Pac-Man machine when I was very drunk on a stag do in Norwich in the bowling alley.
That's how all your stories start, Phil. But
Well,
actually,
it was
also
handy all
known
round it, but for some
in
reason
the
Clyde really
UK
stuck out.
also known in the UK as Pokey, apparently.
Weird.
So, okay, that's one more point, Phil. Okay. What video game has generated almost $14 billion in revenue since its release in 1970?
Tim Air,
Chris?
Space Invaders.
Absolutely bang on. He breaks the mold finally and scores 1 million points. Okay, just a couple more questions to go, guys. Which pop media icon was recently memorialized in World of Warcraft in late 2018? To be fair, I didn't think you'd know this because I didn't know this, but I thought it was fun putting it in here. Stan Lee.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't
That's
it?
cool.
Yeah, almost makes me want to play World of Warcraft, but I've still got a little bit of a life.
What, in Ark?
And not a gaming PC.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, okay. Good points, good call-outs. I'll take it on board. Good feedback, guys. Thank you. Okay, so the protagonist in Grand Theft Auto Vice City was voiced by which actor?
Do that, don't they do?
Go for it, Craig.
Ray Liotta?
Aye. Oh, Alexa's talking to me now. Okay. Nintendo began as a company selling which product?
They do that, don't they do?
Go on, Craig.
Playing cards.
Absolutely correct. In fact, they were founded in 1889 and they originally produced traditional Japanese playing cards called Hanafuda.
Mm.
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
And for the final question, what is the title given to your character in Mass Effect Andromeda?
They do that, don't they do?
I'm afraid that was Craig.
Pathfinder.
Absolutely correct.
Couldn't
And
even
with
get the
that,
word out of my mouth before he was in there.
Yeah.
That's the end of this week's Ultimate Game Quiz. Trailing at the back, I'm afraid, from his run of 2 wins in the first 2 episodes, Chris is on 1 million points.
It's not a bad score, though. 1 million points, mate.
I mean,
Yep.
well done. You'd be
I
happy
wouldn't
if that was
scoff at that.
pounds in your bank.
You're a millionaire. And Phil, in a close second place, on 11 million points. But the winner, and this is why he didn't want to host the quiz this week, because he has so much knowledge in his noggin, is Craig with 14 million points.
Get in, my
Nicely
son.
done, Troy. Nicely done.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Thanks, man. Well, I can just sit there at the bottom of the board because all of you guys are going to play it more than me, and you can just tip up ahead of me. But at least I'll have one score on the board, eh?
Still part of the game.
Well, that was awesome, Alan. Thanks for that, mate. I really enjoyed that.
That's fun.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheers,
that's
Alan.
good fun.
Enjoyed that.
Sorry, Chris.
I
The winning
apparently
run
suck.
had to end eventually.
No, well,
It's
mate,
not-
I'm not bitter. It's just like I'm sitting there going, I feel like an idiot right now. I'm more annoyed that I just couldn't get that name on that first question. I could see his face. I knew exactly who it was, but the
Ginger
name
guy.
just deserted me. It just absolutely
Ginger.
deserted me. You know, it's like
I had it the same with Nathan Fillion in Destiny and
couldn't
Destiny
get
2.
it.
I've put hundreds of hours into that game.
couldn't get it at all, man. I was like,
man.
completely deserted me. I'm like, I know exactly who he is. I know exactly. I could name films he's been in, like galore, but that name just wasn't in my head. That annoyed me so much. You know.
Oh, great stuff. Right. Well, I'm going to jump back in the chair. I'm just going to sit on your lap, Alan, if that's all right.
Won't be the first time.
And yeah.
Hooray!
Yeah,
We're not
just
doing a quiz.
Well, that's the end of the quiz, and that's the end of episode 3. So I hope everyone enjoyed that, because I certainly did. The episode will go up tomorrow, so it's always going up on a Saturday. Usually try and get up by Saturday afternoon. It's up on Spotify, it's up on Apple Music as well, and we also put it up onto YouTube and SoundCloud. So please check it out, and if you like it and you want to kind of listen more, make sure you subscribe to it, because it'll always let you know when the new episodes are up. Yeah, we will see you all later. So it's a bye from me and a bye from everyone else. Say bye, boys.
Bye. Bye.